Hiya, in this video I'm going to explain how to use a nebulizer for your rabbit. I use mine because Achilles, my rabbit, has respiratory issues, so it helps to keep the symptoms like sneezing and things down. But please don't just use it without advice from your vet. This isn't something you should just mess around with. So make sure that your vet has actively told you to nebulize your rabbit or discuss the options with them before you start nebulizing them. So this is Achilles, and unfortunately Achilles has case of the snuffles, so he sneezes quite often and he has some trouble breathing. He's also molting, but to help kind of regulate his breathing and his snuffly nose and sneezing, I nebulize him. So I'm going to leave him down on the floor for now, and I'm just going to talk you through the equipment that I use to nebulize him. So you need the nebulizer itself. That's this one in particular is a Parry compact, but I can post the details of exactly what it is after. So what it does is you plug it into a source of electricity, and then you use this, which is a little funnel that allows you to put whatever product you're putting into the nebulizer into the air for the rabbit to breathe in. Now, you might have seen this in young kids, but they will usually have a mask attached to it, and we can't do that with the rabbits, so we use a box, but I'll explain that after. And then we also have the cord that attaches from the machine to the, well, whatever this is itself. Because the rabbits have been at it, I've had to cover it with some masking tape in some places. That was learned the hard way. They like to chew these as well as the wires, so everything's got wrap around it. Anyway, so the way you do it is this will plug into the nebulizer itself, and then after you'll plug it into the wall with that, and then you'll take your cord. It's basically just a thin clear tube, and both sides are the same. So you'll plug one side into the nebulizer itself, and the other side will go into the base of the dispenser like that. I'm not going to put it in just now because it makes it difficult to put the liquid in, so I'll add it last. So what I'm using is F10, it's antiseptic solution. I'm going to post exactly the one I'm using. This is what was prescribed to me by the vet. It was cheaper to buy online in bulk, but obviously don't just put anything in the nebulizer. Make sure you've spoken to a vet and it's the right thing. So I tend to put about a capful in there, and yeah, so it goes up to the 6 mils mark on here. I don't know if you can see that. So it's just at that 6 mark. I think it's in millilitres. I'll have a check. I'm not 100% sure. But that's where it goes to. It's just a capful. Now this should really come with a lid, but I lost the lid and I haven't bought a new one yet. So what I'm using in the meantime is a piece of silver foil, and I put some holes in the silver foil. I'm not sure exactly how it all works, but I just tried to copy what the lid was like, which is essentially a piece of plastic with some holes in it. So I've copied it and it seems to work fine. You can't leave it exposed because it just doesn't work. I've tried it. So okay, so I just put the foil over the top, but obviously if you've got a new nebulizer, it will come ready done. And then what I'll actually do is show you my setup with this box. This is just I'm pretty sure it's an IKEA. I don't know. Just a plastic box, doesn't matter what it is. I like to use a see-through one because then I can see what's going on inside without having to take off the lid. So I would recommend a see-through one. And what I'll do is I'll put some blanket on the bottom just to make it soft, otherwise it's quite uncomfortable. And I have quite badly cut a hole in the side of there that fits the nebulizer. So it just about goes in like that, and it actually holds. Now, if you have a bit more patience than me, you can do a proper one, make it nice and smooth with a proper kind of plastic cutting knife, but I didn't have the time. I used to try to stick the nebulizer inside the box, but it just got too much. You kept trying to rip it down, so this is the best way I found to do it. So the setup is, I've got the nebulizer, the dispenser, I'm going to plug it in at the bottom, and I'm going to pop that into here. And I'm going to pause the tape and I'm going to put it on the floor near some electricity, and then I'll show you how to do it. So I've got most of the setup and the bunnies ready and waiting. I'm just putting a little blanket in the bottom of it so it's nice and soft. I'm going to plug it in at the wall. And I'm just going to show you actually. So when I switch it on, there's a button on the box itself which I'll switch on, and it's quite noisy, but you can see it's pushing out, I hope you can see that on the film, it's pushing out the smoke or the gas into the box. So the next thing I do is grab the bunny. Oh no! Okay, so now the bunny is in hand, he goes in the box, and I take a lid, and the lid goes on there too. The lid has masking tape on it because he managed to... Oh no, I broke it. I stood on it. Not when he was in it, when the lid was on the floor. Anyway, the lid has masking tape. Basically, everything needs to be pretty airtight, but not obviously like a complete sealed box because they need to breathe as well. Anyway, I use the nebulizer as a weight on top because otherwise he pushes up the lid. But if the lid is fitting well, then you shouldn't need to do that. Okay, so then I'm going to switch it on in a minute, and I'm going to leave him there for about 20 minutes because that's what the vet recommended. What I used to do, because he got quite anxious in there, was put food in there, but I've since found out that it's not the best thing for them to be eating whilst they're supposed to be breathing in all the air. So I don't put food in there anymore, but I do make sure to give him treats when he's finished, and sometimes when he's still in the box, I'll give him some pellets whilst he's in there, just so he kind of associates it with good things. The other thing is if you've got a particularly nervous rabbit, it can help to actually cover the box a little bit with some sheets so it's a little bit darker for them. When it's the start, they're going to be nervous, they're not going to enjoy it very much, so maybe start off with 10 minutes and be sure to give them lots of attention afterwards and lots of treats. But they definitely get better over time, and he gets much more used to it, and as long as he's associating it with treats after, it's fine. So I'm going to nebulize him, otherwise he's going to get cross sitting in the box. That's not got any smoke going in there. So I hope that was helpful, and ask me any questions you've got. I'll try and answer them as best I can.